Look up at the night sky. For millennia, humanity has cast its gaze upward, captivated by the cold, distant glittering of stars. We have charted the craters of the moon with astonishing precision. We have mapped the rust-red valleys of Mars, sending mechanical rovers millions of miles across the silent vacuum of space to scrape at alien soil. We speak of the cosmos as the final frontier, driven by an insatiable hunger to know what lies beyond our fragile blue world. Yet, in our desperate yearning to conquer the heavens, we have suffered from a profound, almost arrogant blindness to the magnificent, terrifying alien world that exists right beneath our feet. We live on a planet that is dominated by water. The oceans cover over 70% of the Earth's surface, acting as the very lifeblood of our climate, the cradle of our existence, and the silent tomb of history. And despite all our technological triumphs, despite our satellites and our supercomputers, a staggering 95% of this colossal, underwater realm remains entirely unexplored, unseen by human eyes, and unmapped by human science. To understand the sheer magnitude of what we do not know, we must first abandon the comfort of the sun. The surface of the ocean is a realm of illusion. It is a mirror reflecting the sky, a bustling metropolis of light and energy where waves crash, dolphins leap, and the familiar tapestry of marine biology flourishes in the warm embrace of solar radiation. But this sunlit zone, the epipelagic zone, is nothing but a microscopic layer of skin stretched tight over a fathomless, three-dimensional void. It is a vibrant facade that plunges no deeper than 200 meters. Beyond this thin veil of light, the ocean drops away into a realm of crushing darkness, immense pressure, and staggering, incomprehensible volume. To descend into the deep ocean is to travel back in time, to journey into a space where the laws of nature seem to warp, and where biology has been forced to engineer solutions of nightmarish ingenuity merely to survive. Imagine yourself inside a sphere of thick titanium, the hatch sealed shut, severing you from the world of air and light. As the submersible slips beneath the rolling waves, the bright, cheerful turquoise of the surface rapidly begins to drain away. The vibrant reds and yellows of the color spectrum are the first to die, absorbed and extinguished by the dense wall of water above. Within minutes, the world outside your thick quartz porthole shifts into a heavy, melancholic blue. As we pass the 200-meter mark, we cross the first great threshold of the deep. We enter the mesopelagic, commonly known as the twilight zone. Here, the ocean becomes a realm of shadows and fleeting ghosts. The water is cold, plunging rapidly toward near freezing temperatures, and the pressure begins to assert its terrible, crushing dominance. The light that manages to penetrate this far, incredibly weak, scattering into a permanent, dim indigo twilight. It is a world without a horizon, without a floor, and without a sky. In this twilight realm, survival is a brutal, unceasing game of hide and seek played in the shadows. The creatures that inhabit this vast, mid-water column are not the colorful, familiar fish of the coral reefs. They are phantoms. As our submersible continues its relentless descent, sinking past 500 meters, the water teems with bizarre, gelatinous life forms. We encounter creatures with eyes the size of dinner plates, evolved over millions of years to capture the last, dying photons of sunlight falling from the world above. We see the terrifying silhouettes of apex predators perfectly adapted to the gloom. This is the hunting ground of the magnificent sperm whale, a leviathan that holds its breath for over an hour to dive deep into this chilling darkness, engaging in titanic, unseen battles with the elusive giant squid, a creature of nightmare proportions, with tentacles lined with razor-sharp suckers, and an intelligence that remains one of the ocean's greatest mysteries. In the twilight zone, you do not see your predator until it is far too late. As the altimeter ticks past 1,000 meters, the final, agonizing traces of sunlight are completely, utterly extinguished. We have crossed into the bathypelagic zone, the midnight zone. From this point onward, extending thousands of meters down to the ocean floor, the Earth is enveloped in a permanent, ancient, and absolute blackness. This is the largest habitat on our entire planet, encompassing a volume of water so staggering that it defies human imagination. Yet, it is entirely devoid of solar energy. The pressure here is lethal, exerting hundreds of times the normal atmospheric weight upon every square inch of an organism's body. An unprotected human lung would be instantly compressed to the size of a tennis ball. It is an environment so harsh, so unyielding, and so profoundly alien that for centuries, scientists firmly believed it to be a barren desert, devoid of any possible life. But as our submersible switches on its powerful exterior floodlights, piercing a darkness that has remained undisturbed since the dawn of the world, we discover a truth far more wondrous and terrifying than we ever dared to imagine. The darkness is not empty. The darkness is a live dot. As the altimeter steadily ticks past the 1 kilometer mark, we enter a realm of perpetual, freezing night. This is the bathypelagic zone, a staggering expanse of water that holds nearly unimaginable volume, yet remains forever untouched by the warmth of the sun. The temperature hovers just above freezing, and the pressure is immense, a crushing weight that would instantly implode a standard military submarine. Here, in the absolute, silent blackness, the fundamental rules of life are rewritten. Without sunlight, there can be no photosynthesis. There are no vast meadows of kelp, no blooming phytoplankton. The primary source of energy for this colossal ecosystem does not grow from the ground, it falls from the sky. Look closely through the reinforced quartz window of the submersible. Illuminated by the harsh glare of our exterior spotlights, you will see a continuous, gentle shower of pale, white particles drifting downward through the abyss. This is marine snow. It is a delicate, unending blizzard composed of dead organic matter, decaying microscopic plants, animal waste, and the disintegrating carcasses of creatures from the sunlit world far above. It takes weeks, sometimes months, for a single flake of this organic snow to reach the abyssal plain. Yet, this morbid precipitation is the very lifeblood of the deep ocean. It is a slow, silent feast falling from the heavens, sustaining an entire food web of scavengers, detritivores, and the nightmarish predators that hunt them in the gloom. Yet, this darkness is not entirely void of light. It is punctuated by fleeting, ghostly flashes of neon blue and sickly green. In an environment where eyes are useless, biology has weaponized light. This phenomenon, known as bioluminescence, is the language of the abyss. It is used to attract mates, to blind predators, and most terrifyingly, to lure in unsuspecting prey. From the oppressive blackness emerges the grotesque silhouette of the anglerfish. It is a creature of pure, predatory nightmare, a localized apex killer that perfectly embodies the brutality of deep-sea survival. Suspended over its massive, gaping maw, filled with translucent, needle-like teeth, dangles a fleshy appendage glowing with bacterial light. It acts as a beacon in the void, a deadly siren song. The anglerfish does not chase its food. It waits with the infinite patience of a stone, saving its precious energy until a curious victim swims too close to the light. Then, in a fraction of a second, the jaws snap shut. The trap is sprung. There is no escape. Further down, drifting through the frozen water column, we encounter the Vampiroteuthis infernalis, the vampire squid from hell. Despite its demonic name, this ancient relic is not a hunter, but a passive scavenger. It hangs motionless, draped in its crimson cloak, deploying long, sticky filaments to catch falling marine snow. It is a ghost haunting the midnight zone, a testament to how life adapts to profound scarcity. And lurking not far away, the gulper eel, a creature that seems to be little more than a massive, cavernous mouth attached to a whip-like tail. In a world where meals are incredibly rare, the gulper eel has evolved the astonishing ability to unhinge its massive jaw, allowing it to swallow prey much larger than its own body. In the deep, you must be ready to consume whatever you find, whenever you find it, because you may not eat again for a year. As we approach the 4-kilometer mark, the seafloor finally begins to rise from the depths. It is a vast, muddy desert, a graveyard where the giants of the surface come to their final rest. But even in this desolate wasteland, there are magnificent oases of life that defy all biological logic. Emerging from the tectonic cracks of the Earth's crust are towering chimneys of mineral deposits, vomiting superheated, toxic black smoke into the freezing water. These are hydrothermal vents. Here, surrounded by boiling, acidic water and utter darkness, we find thriving, dense communities of giant red-tipped tube worms, ghostly white crabs, and alien-like shrimp. They do not rely on the sun or marine snow. Instead, bizarre bacteria harness the toxic chemicals spewing from the Earth's core to create energy, a process known as chemosynthesis. It is a complete, parallel ecosystem, an alien world thriving on the toxic breath of the planet itself, forcing us to question the very origins of life on Earth. But the true test of engineering, and the ultimate descent into the most terrifying, crushing depths of our world, still lies ahead. We are about to cross the threshold into the Hadal Zone. We are heading into the trenches. As our submersible passes the 6-kilometer mark, the relatively flat, muddy expanse of the abyssal plain suddenly vanishes beneath us. The seafloor rips open, revealing a monolithic, jagged scar carved into the very crust of the Earth. We have arrived at the precipice of the abyss. We are descending into the Hadal Zone, a realm appropriately named after Hades, the ancient Greek god of the underworld. Before us lies the Mariana Trench, a crescent-shaped canyon of unimaginable proportions, stretching for over 2,500 kilometers across the western Pacific Ocean. If you were to tear Mount Everest from the Himalayas and drop it into this unfathomable chasm, its towering peak would still be submerged beneath more than 2 kilometers of crushing, freezing water. As we slip over the edge, the walls of the trench rise up around us like the gates of a dark, alien fortress. The darkness here is no longer just an absence of light. It feels like a physical entity, a heavy, oppressive blanket wrapping around our tiny titanium sphere. The most terrifying enemy in the Hadal Zone is not a giant predator lurking in the shadows, but the water itself. The pressure at these depths is almost completely beyond human comprehension. For every 10 meters we descend, the weight of the water increases by 1 full atmosphere. Down here, the ocean exerts a mind-boggling pressure of over 1,000 times the standard atmospheric pressure at sea level. It is the equivalent of having the weight of 50 jumbo jets resting on a single human body, or balancing a majestic African elephant on the surface area of a postage stamp. To survive this unforgiving environment, our vessel must be engineered from the most advanced, ultra-thick titanium alloys, perfectly spherical to distribute the lethal force evenly. A single, microscopic flaw in the hull, a fracture thinner than a human hair, would result in an instant, catastrophic implosion. We are strangers in a hostile land, hanging suspended by a thread of human ingenuity in an environment that actively seeks to crush us into oblivion. Yet, defying all logic, biological life refuses to surrender. Even in this hellish abyss, gliding silently along the jagged, black rocks, illuminated only by our solitary searchlight, is the Mariana snailfish. It holds the record as the deepest living fish ever discovered by mankind. It does not look like a hardened, armored monster. Instead, it is ghostly white, small, and remarkably fragile, with soft, translucent skin that lacks protective scales. Its skeletal structure is highly flexible, and its biology is packed with specialized organic chemicals that prevent its cellular proteins from completely collapsing under the crushing weight of the water. It is a masterpiece of extreme evolution, a fragile ghost haunting the deepest, darkest corridors of our planet, feeding on tiny crustacean scavengers that swarm like deep-sea locusts over whatever meager scraps of food manage to fall this far from the heavens. We continue to fall. 8,000 meters, 9,000 meters, 10,000 meters. The descent feels eternal, an endless plunge into the heart of the void. Finally, at a staggering depth of 10,935 meters, our submersible gently touches down on a flat, desolate expanse of fine, yellowish-gray silt. The altimeter stops ticking. We can go no further. We have reached the Challenger Deep, the absolute, undeniable bottom of the Earth. You are currently further removed from the sunlit world, further from the warmth of human civilization, than astronauts orbiting the planet in the International Space Station. Since the dawn of human history, only a handful of individuals have ever laid eyes on this alien landscape. The silence here is profound. It is an ancient, heavy quiet that has remained unbroken for millions of years. When the courageous explorers Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard first reached this exact spot in 1960 aboard the bathyscaphe Trieste, they stared out of their tiny, crackling window into the abyss, proving to the world that life could exist at the very bottom of the ocean. Decades later, visionary filmmaker James Cameron made his historic solo descent, shining a bright green light upon the barren, alien topography. But our modern expeditions have revealed a tragic, sobering truth. Even here, at the most remote, hostile, and isolated location on the face of the Earth, humanity has already left its indelible mark, lying half-buried in the ancient silt of the Challenger Deep. A stark reminder of our surface world drifts lazily in the slow currents, a discarded plastic bag. It is a chilling juxtaposition. The reach of human impact moves faster and deeper than the reach of our own understanding. We have managed to pollute the very depths we have not even begun to fully explore. Our time at the bottom of the world is limited. Slowly, the submersible releases its iron ballast weights, and we begin the long, arduous ascent back to the world of light. As we leave the crushing embrace of the trenches, passing through the pitch-black midnight zone, and eventually breaking through the surface into the blinding, glorious warmth of the sun, we are left with a profound realization. The ocean is not just a body of water, it is a colossal, living, breathing entity. It is the primary life support system of our planet, regulating our climate, generating the oxygen we breathe, and harboring secrets that could hold the key to understanding the very origins of life in the universe. We stand on the precipice of a new era of discovery. The 95% of the ocean that remains unseen is not an empty void. It is the final frontier, a vast, dark canvas waiting to be illuminated by human curiosity. We must protect it. We must respect it, because in the end, by exploring the deepest, darkest corners of our world, we are truly discovering ourselves. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary descent into the abyss. If this journey has captivated your imagination, please leave a like, share this documentary with your fellow explorers, and subscribe to our channel. Join us next time as we continue to shine a light into the darkness, uncovering the most terrifying and beautiful mysteries of the deep sea. Until then, keep wondering and never stop exploring.